very lucky to have Matt here with us today to take us through the topic of pitching for impact. Matt is a curriculum designer for the Canva Foundation, working to empower nonprofit organizations around the world with branding and design skills. He has spent more than 20 years in the design and education world, working with a range of public and private, domestic and international clients involved in teaching or promoting creativity as a career. Over to you, Matt.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. Before we begin, Canva acknowledges the Gundungara people, the traditional owners of the land from which I'm presenting from today. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and most importantly, emerging, and extend that respect to all First Nations people across Australia and thank them so much. So we've got a bit to get through today, but I know there's going to be questions that come up. So feel free to post your questions as I'm talking and I'll keep an eye. Jess will let me know if there's anything I need to talk about. And if we don't have time or if your question isn't answered in the Q&A, I really encourage you to go to our Canva not-for-profit Facebook group. There's a great place to meet and learn from other nonprofits, and plus the Canva team is also in that group. So if you have any problems, they can jump in straight away and give you a hand. So as just pointed out, my name is Matt and I get to work in the Canva Foundation. So our mission is to bring the best of Canva to the world's problems. And my particular area is focused on creating curriculum to help underprivileged youth from poor communities around the world learn digital skills and tech skills so we can help them climb out of poverty and possibly get a job with Canva. So what is Canva? It's an Australian company founded with a huge mission to empower the world to design. And so far, we're doing pretty good. We've got 60 million monthly active users, and we're doubling in size every year and delivered in over 100 languages. But as our founder, Melanie, says, we're really only 1% of the way there. Canva is a platform for your creativity. It's a free tool. You can visit canva.com and start designing without even signing in. Our vision is to have everyone everywhere achieve their goals through design. And one of the values within Canva is to set these crazy big goals and make them happen. And we like the idea of sharing this value and helping everyone to achieve their goals, big, small, and everywhere. And some of those goals can literally change the world. Canva is used by now over 101,000 not-for-profits. They use Canva for free to raise funds and draw attention to their critical causes. And yes, that's right. It's free for anyone in a non-profit. They get Canva Pro for free. And sometimes we get NFPs asking whether they can upgrade to Pro, but it's actually Pro that they're on. The difference is, the only difference is because we know you're from a not-for-profit, we'll serve you more relevant content that we know NFPs use more. But apart from that, you can get to anything you need. So, a question. I'd love to hear your backgrounds. In the chat, can you list what cause you work for, please? A church from Gillian.
Interesting. What causes we've got in the community? A few churches.
Digital board, slideshows. Linda does neighborhood community group. Emily's in disability employment services. Master of Business Analytics. That's going to be a massive growth area in the future. Excellent. So we've got a massively different kind of diverse group here, which is great. Okay, before I get too carried away, a quick agenda about what I'm going to be covering today. First up, it's worth looking at what the Pro account actually gives you. If you are an NFP, it's important that you are using the Pro features because they're really good. Then we'll look at some techniques to help you prepare your pitch. And then we're going to look at some design tips and tricks so your slide deck really stands out. And finally, we're going to look at how to present so you leave a lasting, impactful presentation. If you need to design, creative, whatever, it's print, digital, Canva is your one-stop shop. There's thousands of templates, fonts, images, videos, audio, all in one place. You can literally almost design anything. Start a new document, create a custom size. And really the biggest thing we hear from users is there's too much choice. If you're on the free account, you get 270,000 different templates. And if you're on the Pro account, you get 420,000 different templates, which is just mind-boggling. That's why we try to get people to start inspired. You can search and add a template to kickstart your creativity. The templates are ready to go with content that gets you started. And that's what I'm going to be showing you a little bit today. Literally how to use some of the templates and how they're kind of set out so you can just jump in and start using them. We'll also be using, just when I show you a couple of the different features in the Pro account, I'll be using a workout business, which kind of explain, so I can show you all the different things and what they do. Okay, so once you got your template chosen, you can start to make it your own unique design. You can edit your template using the editing toolbar at the top. One of the great things about Canva is you can put all your brand elements into the platform. So they're waiting for you whenever you need them. You can upload a logo, your brand colors and fonts and brand kit. And if you don't have official colors, that's fine because Canva can actually extract those for you from your logo. This way you can keep everything really consistent. The Styles tab allows you to change your documents, fonts and colors quickly and easily, making it a really, I guess, just a really nice, quick, easy, seamless kind of operation when you need to do something quickly. You can forget difficult editing tools. Removing photo backgrounds is just in a flash. It's actually just one click. It's so quick that I often ask people to just watch it again. It's literally hit the background remover and it's gone. Smart mockups also allows you to mock up your flat design into a 3D realistic photo. You don't need Photoshop or anything like that. You simply just choose your design, you select a mockup, and with a single click, you're done. Okay, let's get a hand in there. It's always nice to have a hand holding something. I really love this feature as well. This is just mind-boggling to me. Coming from a design background, I would spend a lot of time resizing things. So I'd build one thing and then have to resize it constantly into all the different sorts of things that we might need, like supporting marketing materials, posters, presentations, all that kind of stuff. But now with one click again, you're able to kind of take it straight into whatever you need. And then finally, one of the great things is we've now got a content planner in there. So you can save time and plan ahead and never miss a post. You can do this from your desktop or from your phone, which is super handy. And if you're on a deadline and you need feedback, you can actually get your teammates to jump in with your designs for quick and easy collaboration. You can see here how Ronnie's jumped in and he's adding his changes, and then it gets approved and off we go. Okay, that was my pitch for Canva. Let's shift focus to what makes a pitch good. I've got a question here. What's your top tip off the top of your head for giving a good pitch?
Oh, so many from experience.
Don't read. Memorable.
Make it about them.
Make it about them, yes.
Know what the audience needs. Yeah, I'm just going to make it about them as well, isn't it? Good points.
Inspire, short and to the point, make it so it sticks. I like that, Enrica. Okay, at Canva, we've got access to like some pitch masters, and that's how we've come up with these guidelines. Mel, the founder and CEO of Canva, has pitched hundreds, thousands of investors. Guy, our chief brand evangelist of Canva, is a best-selling author, and he's doing upwards of 50 keynote speeches a year. And then we've also included Michael Siebel, Managing Director at Y Combinator. It's a startup fund program, and since 2005, YC has invested in nearly 3,000 companies, including Airbnb, Dropbox, DoorDash, Stripe, Instacart. These three have seen a bunch of pitches in their time. So let's hear from Guy really quickly.
One of the things that I always try to do in a speech is to sell a dream. Selling a dream means that you're talking about how your product, your service, your book, your idea makes the world a better place. Macintosh empowered people to use computers. Canva has democratized design. It's the high road, it's the big picture benefit. A crucial part of every speech is the dream that you're selling.
So, in fact, Guy's got his own rule about how to make sure a presentation is effective. I have broken a lot of these today, so my apologies. His basic idea is that there's never more than 10 slides. It never goes for longer than 20 minutes. And he also has this one about that never have a font that is less than 30 point. So what he's basically saying there is if it's 30 point, it kind of forces you to be simple with what you're saying. So you can't be over the top with how you're describing things. Another one of his is 1 page, 1 point, which is really, really important. This whole idea about like if you're showing a page, it has 1 page, 1 point, not 2 points, not 3 points, just 1 point, because that's what people can actually take in. Seth Godin has a very similar one. His is no more than 6 words on a slide ever. And I've just realized I've just used 9 words. So just make it like that. That's much better. So no more than 6 words ever. So Seth argues that there's no presentation that's so complex that this rule needs to be broken. If you can't say it in a simpler way, then you probably shouldn't say it. Michael Siebel talks about one of the biggest mistakes that businesses make when pitching is not knowing who they're pitching to. For instance, a partner may not know a lot about the problem, or may know a lot about the problem, but the customer might not. A volunteer might be personally interested in the solution, where an investor might only be interested in the growth. So you need to tailor your pitch so you meet their needs, which is what someone mentioned when we asked the question earlier. Mel often talks about this idea of having clear points along your pitch journey. Stating your purpose, trying to get it into one sentence. Stating the problem. What's the pain point for your beneficiaries? What's the solution? Follow it up, follow the problem up with the solution. How are you going to make this better for them? What's the market or the problem size? So what are you actually dealing with here? Project plan, how are you actually going to do it? And then the team. Who are the founders and the leaders that are going to make this happen? Let's look at an example about how this plays out. This is Airbnb. You can see here that they start with a purpose. It's one sentence: book rooms with locals rather than hotels. Then the problem they're trying to solve. So they're looking at price, hotels, no easy way exits. Then the solution straight after that. Then the problem size. It's a massive size, this market. So that's going to make investors really interested very quickly. Then you got what the plan is. And finally, who's going to carry out this plan? Let's look at another, this time in NFP. Again, we've got the purpose, the problem, the solution, the size of the market, the plan, and the team. And at the end of this very brief pitch, you have a clear idea of what's wrong and how it can be fixed and who's going to fix it. At Canva, we tried to make this really simple for you. So we put all the key information in templates. So I'm going to do a demo and actually show you how that works. So here we are in the Canva home, and I'm going to look at pitch. And you can see here straight away, I've got a whole bunch of pitch decks straight away, and you can just slide down, and you can, if you hover over one, you can actually take you through a couple of the pages. So you can find something you like. There is a lot. Let's go back up and we'll choose this one. All right, so what I have here is I've got all my pages already sitting there, ready to go. So pitch deck, it's got my headline. I can write anything about the company name, and we've put like text in there so you can actually, I guess it directs you to like how to fill it out. For the problem, all the way through. Now I'm going to go into a bit more detail on these and actually look at how we use these bits. And at the same time, show you some design principles that are in play. This pitch deck is actually using a serif font for the headlines. Has those little extra bits on the ends of the letter. It's classic, it's traditional, it's common in print, and it's matched with the sans serif. And these are clean and modern and more common in the digital. So when selecting your type, readability matters most. What many people don't realize is that these types of type, the serif and the sans serif, are actually made to go together. We can swap them around and they'd work equally as well. We could make them the same. And this one kind of works, but it's more impactful when you pair two different fonts together. One of the things I've loved working at Canva is there's so much information out there. So during this presentation, I'm going to give you a bunch of existing resources where you can go and find out more. This is a great post to look at if you want to know how to choose two fonts that work well together. Let's look at another page. This is the second page in the pitch deck. What we've got happening here is hierarchy. This is where we can actually control where the viewer is actually looking, which is super important when you're pitching because you want to lead the viewer on a journey. So it kind of looks like this. I know people are attracted to big things, so they're probably going to look at the picture first. Then they're moving across to the headline, and then they're down to the subhead. And then finally, they're down to the footnotes. And I've controlled, just by how I laid it all out, I've controlled exactly where their eye is going. Hierarchy can also be affected by color. So look at this body copy. It's actually getting most of the attention now simply because it's contrasting more. The picture is still the biggest thing, but because of the repetition from the previous slide, it doesn't naturally get my attention. I've been there and I've done that. If I actually take out the color and the size difference, you can see how suddenly it changes. I'll just go back and show you again. It makes a pretty big impact. And again, there's some really good resources all about hierarchy. And I love this one, this particular article, because it actually teaches the squint test. The squint test is a great way to see whether your visual hierarchy is actually working. So the basic idea behind it is you sit back from your computer screen a little bit and you squint at your design. So all the details blur, your eyelashes are getting in the way, and all you're seeing is just general shapes. At this stage, you can look and you can say, okay, what still stands out? Is it what you want the viewers to look at first? If so, then you're probably in good shape. If not, then it might be time to go back and try something else. Let's have a look at another page. The other thing you'll find in the templates is a bunch of page breakers. These are great if you just want to take a breather occasionally. This is both for you and for your audience. You can let them sit with the information for a second before launching into a new piece of information. Let's look at the next slide. You'll notice on a lot of the templates, we have 3 main points, and 3 is the magic number when making points. I'm going to throw it over to chat. Does anyone know why 3 is the magic number for when you're making a point?
That's a good question. It looks nice and balanced, doesn't it? Beginning, middle, and end, says Jean.
That's good. Retention. Absolutely. Allows for proper font size. Yep. Definitely that retention thing. You can always seem to remember 3 comes after 2. 3 is a magic number because it's actually the smallest number we need to create a pattern, making it the easiest string of information for our brains to absorb and remember. We can remember the first thing, we can remember the second thing, we can normally work out what the middle thing is just by the context of the first and second. As soon as we have 4 or more, our brains start organizing, so sorting into pairs and so on. 3 manages to get under that sorting radar. Okay, you might have noticed that we've used colors a lot in this presentation as well. And that's because at Canva, we put a lot of effort into how we choose colors. And the great thing is we give all that to you as well. So let me just go and show you this quickly. So this is the color page. Just go canva.com/colors. And it's got these amazing resources on there. So first of all, we can color page generator. So this is, you can just upload a photo and it'll pull out the colors that are used in that photo so you can use. You can also use just demo images. So here's another one which has got muddy waters, favorite color. Try another one. And you can see how it's pulling the colors from the image and giving you a really lovely color palette to use. Okay, let's jump back and have a look at one of the other things. So color palette ideas. There is a lot of color palettes here for you to choose from. As you can see down the bottom, there's over 99 pages worth. And you can just click salmon sushi. You can go in, you can see how that color palette has been put together. You've also got related combinations. And then you can also see how it all falls out there. You can also go and make your own ones. So if we go into the color wheel, I love this thing. So we can pick a color. So let's go with blue, and it's giving me the complementary color as well. Okay, I can go down and choose triadic instead, and then I'll get 3 different colors. You can see how it's kind of the different relationships between those two. It'll give you the color number that you can use for your web. And then you'll also see there's a whole bunch of different ones in there as well. Monochromatic, if you just want to use one color, but have like a tone with it as well. And then the final one, which I really love, I can't believe how much work has gone into this, is if you go onto the color meanings and symbolism, you can choose any color. Jessie, have you got a favorite color?
Oh, I quite like that seafoam you were just on. I think it's the one above. Yeah, that one.
Seafoam green. So you can go into this. It'll give you a whole bunch of color combinations where seafoam has been used, but it also gives you all this information about history of seafoam green, where it came from, what does it mean? It goes into loads and loads of details, as you can see. Finally, you can get all the different combinations you might need. So the RGB, CMYK, the hex. So it just has, and it literally has that for lots and lots of colors. You scroll down, you could spend hours on this. Amber, anyone interested in amber?
I love that color too, actually. This is so comprehensive, isn't it?
Okay, so that's the color. So definitely try that out because it's an amazing resource that really helps you find colors that are going to work well together. Back to the template we chose originally, and you'll see there that they've given you an option to use a graph. Now, this can make your presentation really impactful because everyone likes a graphic. A graph, it's a great way to show a lot of information very quickly and back up your information, back up your argument. So I'll just show you how quickly and how easy it is. There's the graph. If I double click on it, it pulls up this chart here, and I can literally go in and start making changes. So I can go in and say, okay, this is the volunteers that we have. And then we've got customers. And you can see how it's changing on the graph over here. You can also change those levels. So actually we had a lot more volunteers than that. We had 25. And then in the following year, so let's say that was 2020, and the following year we had about double that. You can see how it changes the graph. And that line graph is getting a little bit confusing. So I might just change it to, I like a donut chart. So it changes instantly and it keeps all the figures that you'd already put in. Okay, this is probably not the best one, to be honest. So let's have a look at bar charts. Probably going to be the best one because then I can see the contrast very quickly. So that's how easy it is to use graphs. It also has Venn diagrams, which is a really great way to show how two or more opposing concepts can come together to form something new. And again, we have an amazing landing page for that as well. Here you can get a ton of information about how to use the graphs effectively, but also the theories behind them and which one to use for the right type of information. When you use data, make sure you make it obvious what you want the people to acknowledge. Make sure, again, there's only one thing you're trying to get across. This is one of Canva's key values, making complex things really simple. One of the final things I want to talk about when you actually do a pitch template, and you'll see this in the pitch template, is how to talk about the team. So investors, ideas are cheap. They see hundreds of them, but building a strong team, and on the other hand, can be costly both in time and money for them. So a great team can take a mediocre, less than unique idea and turn it into a hugely profitable venture in a large scale business. So always make sure you've got the team in there. Some people talk about putting it up at the front. I often like to put it at the back just because it's that kind of, after I've shown the problem and the solution, I can then show the people that are actually going to make this happen. One final piece of advice. One way to make sure that your idea gets across is to give your idea impact. And I'll give you an example of how you might do that. At the very start, I told you how we have 60 million active users a month, which is huge. And we're giving them the skills to visualize and communicate their stories, which is great. But what if I actually show you them? And that suddenly becomes more impactful. You kind of can't stop your brain from instantly starting to make up stories for these people and working out their lives and how it's been made better through learning these skills. Here's another one. This is a good slide. It has contrast. It's got some hierarchy. But if we turn it into an infographic, we could say even more. And this is a type of slide that you can leave up on your screen so people can find their way around it in their own time. You can also send it as a PDF or print it off as a flyer. And as you might expect, Canva has an infographic maker built into the platform. So you can go to this webpage and learn how to do it. Impactful ideas are easy to understand. They're not intertwined with other ideas. They're at the high level, so you don't need to include every detail, and they're personal. So let's finish with a little video from Y Combinator that sees how well we've actually done here.
The most important thing, and this will sound obvious, but clarity. You would be shocked how few pitches are sensible.
First is don't think about it like a pitch. I think founders too often think about this like comical, like, hey, now let me tell you about this great idea. That's not what a pitch is. A pitch is the most concise way to describe your business and why it should be interesting to, to the person sitting across the table.
It's shocking how many pitches I don't really understand, and they're never the good companies. If you've really spent a lot of time and idea. If you really have a big new insight and you're really thoughtful about it, it usually only takes a couple of sentences to paint that picture in someone else's head.
What I realized going through so many interviews is that fundamentally, like, the founders who are straightforward, who are just answering the question that's provided, and who, if they don't know, they say they don't know, they go a lot further.
Can I explain this in plain words that anyone can understand? And that I really think that if there's any pitch that you cannot explain in plain words, it's a really bad sign.
The easiest way to do this as a founder is you should say 1 or 2 lines about your company to somebody. Don't tell them you're a founder, and then see if they can repeat back what the company does.
One of the things that we teach when presenting on demo day, and one of the things that I harp on specifically, is that just because you're given a couple minutes to speak doesn't mean you should take it all. And the impact of your words go up the fewer words you say. So the best companies are able to really explain things in a concise manner, stay on track, and when they don't know something, they say they don't know it.
Usually a good interview or a good pitch, you start off like open-minded, and then if the founder is able to tell a good story and they're able to present a narrative that makes sense, you go with them wherever they're going to go. And if you follow yourself falling into the story and like not looking at the time, or not, like if all of a sudden everything falls away and you're going with them on the story, just like a good movie or something, right? That's a good pitch.
A good interview works like a conversation where you teach us something and convince us that what you're working on can be a multi-billion-dollar company. And a bad interview looks like anything else.
So these are the 4 key factors that Y Combinator looks for when selecting NFPs to work for. So I just thought it was worth showing this, like stuff we've already talked about, like the team is super important. The big problem, but also matched with that big solution. Making sure you're able to prove that this program is promising. And then finally, which is sometimes harder to do, is making sure that there's a culture and values fit. My final thought is a quote from Leela Jana, which I think sums up everything we've been trying to say throughout this session. Bring the clarity of pitching mindset, but approach this as relationship building and communicate your impact as well as your ask. Don't forget to check out our resources we have on Canva for NFPs. This is a great place to go and see exactly like lots of different things that you can use, and there's always new stuff coming out. And check out Canva Space for updates on webinars and in-person workshops. Plus, you can also hire the space in Sydney for free. Jess, anything you want to say about Canva Space?
Absolutely. So today's workshop was hosted through Canva Space, and we've got loads more Canva Space goodness coming for you in the upcoming months and weeks. So please pop onto that website. I'm just getting the link for you right now, and you just click on See Event Schedule, and you can see all the webinars that are coming up, and we aim to have one for our nonprofit community every single month. So if that's what you're most interested in, there should be something there for you every single month. So canva.com/Canva-space is the place to go.
I just wanted to bring up, like, I love talking about brands as well. And if you want to know more about branding your NFP, there's a really great book here by Anne Mittelberg, which is called Brand the Change. And I'd really like to suggest that. It has really great case studies in there, but also lots of exercises for you and the other people within your NFP to kind of go through and, I guess, learn more about your brand through the exercises. And then finally, just before we started, Jess pointed out this great results online from MIT, which backs up this presentation. What I liked about this article was it talks about how to make your pitch more impactful when you're delivering online, which is something we've all needed to get used to, unfortunately. Jess, shall we throw over to some Q&As?
Keeping things simple about something you're really excited or passionate about can be quite challenging. Any tips on how to practice? Oh, so many tips. Do you want to start with tips, Matt, or shall I dive into some tips?
Yeah. I'm a massive fan of Hemingway. And so Hemingway had this great way of reducing down a sentence to its simplest form. And I think one of his very famous stories, shortest stories, definitely, I think was, it just simply went like this: baby shoes never worn. And so the idea is that, you start building the story yourself. And I think that's what I always try to do when I'm simplifying things down. I always talk also about different drivers in your head as well. So if you're writing something, don't try and over edit yourself when you're writing, because that'll just slow you down, and often you'll lose the flow of what you're trying to get across. So I always talk about having the first driver, the first writer in your head, or the designer, or whoever, whatever you're doing, is just let them go. Like, just really, really crazy. Just get all the ideas down. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about how it's overall sounding. And then you swap into or change a hat, and then become the different writer who's much more focused on the grammar, exactly what it says, what words can be removed, all that kind of stuff. And so you're able to come back and look at it in a different way, almost like someone has written it without it being you. And then from that perspective, you can now see how you can remove stuff and actually get down to a very simple proposal.
Yeah, great tips. My tips would be around writing out everything that you want to put in your presentation, and then going away, and then coming back and evaluating it. And you'll just see that some things don't fit in the flow, some things are extraneous, some things can be streamlined, and some things are just great the way they are. But one of the things I really like to do is to record myself presenting it, because you can think that you're coming across really well about a particular thing, and then you realize that when you watch it back, that actually it didn't come across in the way you intended. So I like to recommend Canva's talking presentations for that. So you can actually, if you've got a slide deck in Canva, you can go over to the publishing menu and you can choose the recording option, and you can record what's called a talking presentation, where you'll see your slides, which you can forward, and it'll actually record your face as well. And then you get that as a video, and you can watch yourself back, and you do have to get used to hearing your own voice and get comfortable with that. And then that's a really good way to practice presenting as well, presenting yourself and going through your content. SL asks, what if you cannot stick to the 10-20-30 rule? Oh, well, that's your challenge, I think, SL, isn't it? You got to practice.
And I think also those kind of rules are always set up to just make you more aware. And if you're breaking a rule, then that's perfectly fine. But you're now aware that you're breaking the rule, and so you can adapt as needed. But yeah, that's probably what I would say. You agree, Jess?
Yeah, I mean, it's a guide, isn't it? It's somewhere to start. For those of you who haven't established your own presentation style yet, or have got a style but you want to improve, it's worth trying other people's styles and seeing if that's a good fit. So it's a place to start, and you can evolve on that. And obviously these people are experts, so it's pretty good advice. But definitely practice. As Jean D says, yeah, got to practice being more patient then. That's right. It's a process, isn't it? Getting better and better and better. Last questions. Oliver says, thank you very much. Thanks, Matt and Jessica. Great presentation. So lots of appreciation for your content. Thank you so much, Matt, for sharing all of your knowledge and insights with us this afternoon. It was great to have you in Canva space. All right. Deb learnt so much. It was great to have you along. So thanks so much, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you at the next Canva Space webinar. Take care. Bye-bye.